Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to part 2. First time ever I've actually had to make 2 parts to a episode of any of my series, so that just shows you how much detail I'm putting into these videos. Into this episode, and how interesting it is. So without further ado, let's get down to this. So let's go. So I left off where it was talking about how Tupac said in many of his songs that he was I was talking about how in many of his songs Tupac was almost telling people, I'm going to be leaving, I'm going to supposedly die, and then I'll come back. But, I don't think in any of his songs did it ever hint at a year, did it ever hint at an age, or anything to that effect. All it did was hint at him leaving sooner rather than later. So let's continue. Tupac always wore a bulletproof vest, but for some strange reason he didn't wear one this time. Why not? I've heard Suge Knight was caught on surveillance cameras at the fight telling Tupac to take off his vest because it was hot in there. If this is true, why would Suge Knight not want Tupac wearing his vest? Now, really there's no proof of that. I've seen the surveillance cameras. There footage of the brawl that happened in Vegas shortly before Tupac's supposed slaying, and the footage is terrible. You got to remember, I swear I hear shit at night. You got to remember, I think of surveillance cameras today. Some of them out there are still really shitty looking. So you got to think, this was back in 1996. So, this is a long time ago, back way before high definition was a big thing. And I don't really buy the whole story about Suge Knight. I think the Suge Knight telling Tupac to take off his bulletproof vest was more of a rumor that supports the theory that Suge Knight had him killed. But that is a good question. Why was Tupac not wearing his bulletproof vest? Tupac always did, and this kind of opens up the theory of either two. One, supporting the theory that Tupac is alive and he took off the vest on purpose to fool people into thinking he was killed, because then if the alive rumors were there, people could say, well, he did have a bulletproof vest and they said he got shot 7 times in the chest. It wouldn't really add up. And number two, it could support the theory that he's dead. Let's continue. The memorial services that were open to the public were canceled in both Los Angeles and Atlanta. This could be in the request of the family or friends. It's quite possible. Well, yes, of course it's possible, and I'm sure maybe even it was, but why? Why would you want to cancel public services for such a beloved rapper? That just doesn't make sense. That's like if we had Elvis Presley alive today and he all of a sudden passed away, and the family had him cremated a day later and had no memorial services. It would be extremely weird to people, think of the recent big-time celebrities that have died and they had big memorials. You had James, oh my god, what's his name? Oh my god. I can't remember his name. James Brown. I'm sorry, I forgot. James Brown. Michael Jackson. And then back in the day, like Elvis Presley. And Tupac was a huge figure in the hip-hop world, so why would they not? It just doesn't make sense. Tupac's vehicle got shot 12 times, and Suge didn't get hit once. He was grazed by a bullet. Why did Tupac get shot all those times and Suge not get hit? This is also somewhat of a good question, but at the same time, it could easily be countered with a simple answer. Suge Knight wasn't the target. Now, if the slaying was real and Tupac really is dead and has been dead for the last 16 years, one could say Suge Knight wasn't the problem. They wanted to take out Tupac and successfully did so. Suge Knight just happened to get rather lucky. But I don't really think that points to any mysteriousness. The white Cadillac containing the assailants were never found. How can this be when Vegas is in the middle of a desert? Well, this is a little questionable as well, because when you hear shootings, cops respond to it like that, like boom. And that is a good question. It disappeared with no trace. It's never been recovered. It's never been impounded. They've never captured any of that. So when it comes to that, that is a good question. How can it just pretty much vanish into thin air? And one could say, well, you know, they were able to get away and they did something with the car. Or two, it was set up and the car was simply just maybe taken to a dump and destroyed. Las Vegas is in the middle of the desert. How come there was no helicopter chase? If one were to rob a casino, the Las Vegas Police Department would have chased you down with some helicopters. How come this didn't happen with the Tupac shooting? Well, you can't really fairly consider this to be on the level of a casino robbery. You got to remember, stealing money from the government, so to speak, versus taking the life of a rapper. I don't think the police are really going to put that on the same scale. However, I agree. If a shooting really did happen, I think that there would be a lot more effort put behind it, and the lack of helicopter chase and the time it took the police to get there, and the fact that no suspects and no vehicle was ever found in connection with the shooting is very mysterious. A shooting involving Snoop Dogg occurred close to the release of his album K9 Approach, which made Snoop appear more real and showed that he really was a gangsta. The shooting gave him respect because everyone that bought his album believed what he was talking about. Within 1 week of its release, K9 Approach went platinum. Snoop is signed to the same label as Tupac, which is Death Row Records. What the fuck does that have to do with Tupac? I don't even know why this person... Okay, moving on. Suge said he drove Tupac to the hospital and they had a coherent conversation. How bad was Tupac hit? In addition to all this, there were conflicting stories claiming that Quincy Jones' daughter was in the back of the car and then she wasn't. What's the deal for real? This is a very interesting one here, because there's three, that's right, not one, not two, but there is 3 different theories as to how Tupac was supposedly taken from his BMW and taken to the hospital. It had been reported that he was taken by ambulance. It has been reported that he was airlifted by a helicopter, and it has also been reported that he was driven by Suge Knight. It's very, very bizarre, and that's a big thing. That's one of my favorite almost proofs right there, is that they actually go to the point of having not 1, 2, but 3 different stories. How can you have 3 different stories about one shooting? Quite weird, if you ask me. And the final one on this list, have you seen the video of the song Smile by Scarface and Machiavelli? I've heard it's not Tupac in that video. It is the lookalike from Ohio. That's why Tupac never looks at the camera. The video starts out showing a car just like the one Tupac got shot in, and the car, of course, has bullet holes in it. You can hear garbled words, and they show Tupac Machiavelli up posing as Jesus Christ again. That's twice, once on the album and now in this video. Yeah, I've seen the video, and it is a very compelling video in my opinion, because there's no way to prove whether it is or isn't Tupac. I mean, it's as simple as that. They could actually take Tupac Shakur, not have him talk, of course, and just put him in any video, and people would never think it's the real Tupac. And that's really where the fun of it comes for, if he is still alive, Tupac. It's because he could appear in people's videos, he could even rap on albums, and people wouldn't believe it's him unless they had definitive proof. So that's really it. We're going to see what's going to happen. Is Tupac Shakur alive or dead? Is Tupac Shakur coming back in 2014 because 2 + 4 + 1 = 7? And he will be 43, 4 + 3 = 7. And plus it's 18 years after he faked it. It would be 18 years after he died or faked his death in this situation. In this instance, and that's the same amount of time that Machiavelli was gone. we'll see you guys. Anyway, leave your thoughts and comments below. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys later. Peace.